we will discuss the osmoregulation, which is the regulation of water concentration within the animal cells and bodies, and also the salt concentration within the animal's body. Right. So let's start with that main concept. So, what first of all, we should be able to define the term homeostasis. It is the ability of the living organisms to maintain its internal conditions within an optimal range. So basically, this is a steady state of physiological conditions, and it is very important for the proper functioning of the cells. Imagine our body is made up of different cells, and it performs different metabolic processes, which are chemical reactions, and there are several enzymes and organs involved in doing those physiological changes and physiological functions of the animal's body. And we know that enzymes require very specific internal conditions or environments where they can perform the right functions. For example, in the respiratory process where the energy is being produced, uh, we need a specific amount of oxygen required, and we also need a specific amount of glucose and other substances which are required to produce the ATP for energy production. Similarly, to perform the specific nervous functions, we need specific ions like calcium, specific concentration of sodium, potassium, and calcium ions to enable the neurons to transmit the nerve impulse. If there is an imbalance of these nutrients, that neural activity may be disturbed, right? So the body has set the specific levels for each factor. For example, our body temperature 98.7 degrees, which is a specific fixed set point. And when we have increased body temperature, we say we have fever. And if it is decreased, then that is a hypothermia. And in both conditions, the body does not function properly. Right. So these fixed amounts of or fixed levels of different factors and nutrients is uh, what we call the homeostatic conditions for the animal's body. Right. So this concept was for the first time described by Claude Bernard, who was a French physiologist of 19th century. When he was studying the blood sugar levels and blood glucose levels and liver functions with the glycogen levels in the animal's body, in the human body specifically, he discovered that there are some organs within the body which are secreting some specific compounds or secretions, which we now know as the liver secretions, which maintain the level of the blood glucose. So he gave the name of this phenomena as constancy of the internal environment. Right, as the name suggests, that he meant to say that this is the ability of the body to keep the internal environment at a constant level. Right, so he noticed that if the blood sugar levels goes higher in the blood, more amount of those hormones, right, or which is, in other words, we know them as an insulin, they're being produced, which results into storage of the more glucose into liver and other parts of the body, and the blood sugar level comes down to its set point. And similarly, if the blood sugar level goes down, the other secretions enable the release of the stored glucose to the blood, so that the blood sugar goes high and comes to that fixed point. Although this concept stayed there for a long time, but later it became more famous and more accepted when an American physiologist, Walter B. Cannon, reshaped the idea. He was studying the nervous response to the various stresses in chimpanzees when he realized that that different secretions in the body maintains that levels of different compounds and different components within the animal system. And he coined the term homeostasis, and this term became so widely accepted that he was nominated for the Nobel Prize as well for his discovery. So now the question arises that if the animal has a set point, then what are the factors which result into the change and disturbance of those fixed levels in the animal's body? So there are two main sources: the internal stimuli and the external stimuli. Now imagine that when there are different metabolic processes are continually being conducted within the animal system, they may be producing some new compounds for which they need specific concentration of the nutrients. right? So they need specific supply of the materials, and for respiration, the animal body needs the specific amount of oxygen to perform the normal function, right? And a specific amount of the salts as well. Similarly, the cells withdraw different compounds from their surroundings, like from the body fluids, like the salts. So all these factors, when they are disturbed, they enable the body to activate its homeostatic process or homeostatic mechanisms. Similarly, as a result of all these metabolic activities, some waste materials are being produced, like the excess carbon dioxide due to respiration, and excess of urea, uric acid, or other waste products are being produced, which needs to be removed from the body in order the system can do the normal functioning. So these were the changes within the internal environment of the body, of the animal's body, which makes it necessary to have some homeostatic activities within the animal's body. The second factor is the external environment. So if the animal is in the excessive heat, its body temperature can rise. So they need specific mechanism to decrease the body temperature. So the animal perspire or drinks water, right? So do some other activities, and if it is losing excess of water, then the animal has to take in more water by orally or some other means. So there are two main stimuli which disturbs the set point of the animal's body. So in general, we can say that all these set points or homeostatic values are set for the animal's body for the concentration of oxygen in the cells, concentration of the nutrients and different ions, minerals, salts, and then water contents as well, and also the heat and metabolic waste. So all of these are the different products and different nutrients or different things which the animal has to maintain at the specific level. So basically, the animal's whole body works collaboratively to maintain all these contents at the set point. Like if the animal has to reduce the or decrease the body temperature, the salivary glands becomes activated, the sweat glands becomes activated, the kidney perform its function accordingly. Like if the body has to reduce the temperature, or in other words have to remove excess heat from the body, the more sweat will be produced, the more urination will occur, that will take away excessive heat out of the body, and vice versa, right? So we can say that basically all the systems of the animal's bodies are involved in the homeostatic process except one, the reproductive system. So in other words, we can say the reproductive system does not have any role in homeostatic process of the animal's body. The rest of the systems, they are all working together. There may be circulatory system and the endocrine system. Like for the sugar regulation, the endocrine system produces insulin that is released in the blood, and blood takes it to different parts of the body and do the function for homeostatic maintenance of the blood sugar levels. Similarly, nervous system has the ability to detect the changes in the homeostatic levels and then activating the required systems to maintain and to get it back to its normal state, right? So we can, and they also involve the main sites of the exchange, like kidneys, from where the water and salts and waste materials are exchanged between the blood and the urine, the lungs, from where the blood, oxygen and carbon dioxide from the external air is replaced, and the digestive tract, which absorbs excessive water and nutrients from that food that is being digested, and integument, that has a role in sweating and receiving temperature from the convection through the external air and external environment, right? So these were all the systems involved in the homeostatic process.